want to ask you a few questions. We've been talking about changing our minds, and I really just want to see um, how and if the lesson had any impact on you. And say, well, how are you going to do that? Well, I just want to see where your mind is. I saw something the other day, and it really kind of it encouraged me, and it was really kind of leaning the same way that I wanted to go. Just didn't have uh, I guess maybe there was no blueprint. So it's kind of like I know what I wanted to do, but you know, but God always has a ram in the bush when you don't know what to do. He says, "There it is." So tonight, I want you to get with somebody real quick. Shouldn't take long. Get with somebody real quick. Just that means move. Just move with a partner. And I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and I just want you to answer it the best um, that you can. Are we live yet? Okay, I'm just making sure. And those of you online, if you want to participate, then you feel free to write your answers down, or you can type them in, or however you want to participate. But we're going to ask a couple of questions. It shouldn't take you long to think about them, and just give your responses, and then we'll check with a few of you and see. We'll see what you got. All right. First question. In the morning, if you were to wake up and find out that you had inherited $50 million, what are the first five things that you would do with your newly inherited 50 million? Y'all just looking at each other. It's our osmosis. What y'all doing? Y'all not talking? It's not a secret. Y'all can talk. It's not a secret. Y'all can talk out loud because I'm pretty sure it's not going to be. All right, hold on. I'm going to get to you in a sec. All right, anybody got five yet? You got five? Who got five? Who got five? Who got five? We got one. Who else got five? Anybody else got five? Two. Come on, stand up. Okay. All right. If you hadn't had the $50 million, found out when you woke up, what are the first five things that you say you would do? Okay. Tithe, offering, give some to your parents. Praise God. What's the next? Down payment on a house with 50 million? Okay. What kind of house you got? Go ahead. All right. So you got invest in business. All right. Oh, okay. Come on, let me hear your five. What'd you say? Thank God. Okay. Okay. So now you got that's five. So that's 45. That's 40 million. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you say tithe, offering, give some to the family. But I mean, but you thanking God and tithing off, and that would be okay. Because I would say, other than thanking God, that ain't doing nothing with your money. But okay, and then the last two savings, and then keep spending money. Okay, I'm to preach this again. Okay, y'all, did y'all have five? Okay, last group. Let's hear from you.
Pay your tithe.
Take your time.
Put some money towards the church.
Come on.
Buy land.
Buy.
Share some. Share some with the family.
Share some with the family.
Own a business.
And that's why you sit on the front row. All right, that's good answers. That's good answers. Good answers. All of it. Good answers. All right, number two. What is the best advice that you have ever received? What is one piece of that you would consider to be the best advice that you've received to this point? Mm-hmm.
Like stay in your lane.
I like that. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. That's cool. So know what God has called you to do, who you're supposed to be, and you stay in that lane. Don't try to veer over and be in somebody else's stuff. Very good. I like that. Anybody else? Protect your mind. Yeah, make sure that shield of faith is always up. Protecting your mind. Don't allow any and everything to run rampant in your mind. Y'all stood up. Y'all got something? Live by the word. Live by the word. Absolutely. You can't go wrong if you learn to live by the word. Okay. Okay. Anybody else? It's okay. I mean, it's not really a team effort. I just paired you, but it's it's all right. Okay. We got. Oh, this should be a good one. If you could choose, if you could choose a new name, what would it be? I can't believe you even waited. If you could choose a new name, what would it be? Okay, we got a Grace. Oh, who you would marry with Grace? Let me see. Grace sound kind of old. Oh no, that might be tricky. Okay. Yes. Favor. Okay. Can you check on that? Make sure nobody else. Favor. Okay. So we have a Grace. We have a Favor. Anybody else ever thought about having another name other than the one that you were born with, or you were given at birth? Yeah.
I'll keep my current name because what God is. That's what God has called me.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we got a Grace and we got a Favor. All right. I'm waiting to hear this one. Speak up. You said Charlotte. Charlotte? Okay. Okay. You know I can rock with that all day. It's old, but guess what? It's a favorite place. Favorite name. Charlotte. That's cool. All right, y'all ready? I'm interested in a few of y'all's answers. If you could change one thing about the way your parents raised you, what would it be? If you could change one thing about the way your parents raised you, what would it be? And y'all know this is judgment free. Y'all already know that about the Power Son. We don't cast no judgment. You feel free to speak your truth, the truth. Yeah, we listen and we don't judge. Don't. Who? What are y'all waiting for? Anybody want to speak up? If you maybe I forgot the question. If you could change one thing about the way your parents raised you, what would it be? To not depend on the job. Okay. I can say for me that I wish that my parents would have enforced what they verbally tried to teach me as far as not messing up your credit, how and what to do with your money. They told me, but I wish on this side of it, I wish that they would have made me do it so that I could see the importance of it, as opposed to just following the trail that everybody else has gone down. And you wait and half your life, and you're like, man, I wish I would have. I wish that because they told me, hey, you need your credit, you need to build good credit, you need to learn how to save your money, and da 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 da. They told me that. they told me that they did. They told me. Um, but again, and I mean they did it, But I wish they would have like other parents. They make you put away a certain amount. They make you, do certain things with it. They make you uh, think a certain way because when you don't have to live off of your when you work and you got your whole check and you don't have to put away this and have to put away that and have to learn how to it's different. So that's one thing I could say. What y'all? Anybody else? Entrepreneurial mindset. Yeah, yeah. All right, y'all over there quiet. Yeah, keeping your credit clean. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Well, y'all go back to your seat. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. So again, I wanted to look at just how you're thinking, and what seems to be the more important things when it comes to your mind, when it comes to how you think. Um, if you would turn to Isaiah 54 real quick, I don't think we're gonna be real long. We'll get started tonight, but we'll see how far we can get. But along the lines of learning to change our mind, I believe that in this next season of life, that it's going to be necessary that we change our minds because I believe God is taking us into a place of increase. God is bringing us into the more. Um, and it doesn't seem as if we can go into the place of increase and the place of more with the mindset that we have. the danger of bringing you into a new place with an old mindset is that you won't be able to contain it. Bible talks about how you put new wine into old wineskin. What's going to happen? It's going to burst because you don't have the capacity to hold or to contain what is being deposited in the old wineskin. So um, when the Spirit began to speak to me, or really just kind of laid it out, I was like, well, okay, well, how do you get ready for that? How did you prepare for increase? How do you do that? Because I believe that this is not our first time that increase has come. But I do believe that it's the first time that we will actually be prepared for it, because I believe that he has sent increase towards us. But when we don't do the necessary steps and things to prepare for what he has given us, I believe that he is gracious and merciful enough to us that he will keep back from us what could hurt us. I believe that the blessings of God, they make us rich. But I believe that if you're not prepared, that they could very well add sorrow. The scripture says the blessing of the Lord maketh rich, and he addeth no sorrow. That's the word. But I believe that if we're not prepared for what he has for us, I do believe that it can cause us injury. I believe it can cause us injury. You think about it, how in the world could you be 13-year-old and somebody says, hey, go over there and pick out what kind of house you want. And you go and you find a 70,000 square foot home, basketball court, football field, and swimming pool from here to there, and got all this stuff. You're 13, but you have no financial advisor. You have no one that will watch over you as you make decisions. They just give it to you. You're able to sign, and all of this, and folk just watch you do it. What do you think would happen? What do you think would happen? You have no guardian. You have nobody who cares. You have nobody who leads you any kind of way. Nobody to set the example. Nobody to help. What does that leave you? I mean, what good does that do you? Which reminds me, I was in the store yesterday. Surprise. and and had a little incident. And little guy was sitting there, he was bagging up some food. You know how they bag up stuff, some of them there. Well, they have a particular way that they're supposed to do it. But then they sometimes have a way that they just do it. The guy was standing there and they had the little straps on the bag and everything. And it looked as if he was trying to make the corners match so that you could lay the sticker over it, to keep it closed, right? But somehow the bag did something that he didn't want it to do, but he never tried to correct it. However, the bag fell, he just slapped the sticker on it like that. So the bag looked handicapped on top of the sticker being wrinkled. So now you're gonna peel that off, peel the bag off, and then try to read. You would think he didn't do that. He was gonna move on to the next. And I'm looking at him and I'm thinking to myself, do you even care? So I grabbed the sticker and I pulled it back. And the guy that was with him said, excuse me, I got that. Do you? He said, I'm training him. I gotta show him how to do it. And I looked at him and I said, but are you? Because if you were training him, if you were showing him how to do something, he would have never gotten this far. So I stopped and I just looked at him because I'm thinking to myself, you're telling me that you're training him, but you stood there and watched him mess up. So as I'm having this conversation in my mind, I'm standing and I'm looking at him. These little young boys, they think they think they're something. So he gonna ask me, you all right? I said, son, are you all right? I'm fine. But you told me that you were leading him. You told me that you were showing him how to do this. I said, but you stood there and watched him make a mistake and you allowed him to do it. I said, you lead from the front. You guide from the back. But if you're leading someone and you're showing them how to do it, then you should be in front of him showing him how to do it. What good is it for you to watch him make a mistake and then try to undo it to do it right when you could have stopped him initially and said, no, wait. Make sure that the corners align up. Make sure that it's like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever the situation is. If you are a leader, you don't sit back and watch someone make a mistake and then try to correct it. But at 17, you think you're a leader, but you're not leading. You're not leading. I said, you lead from the front. You're guiding him and not even doing that well. Needless to say, they think they know everything. Hey, I hope you remember Isaiah 54. Isaiah 54, verse 1 says, sing, O barren, thou that didst not bear. Break forth into singing and cry aloud, that he says, thou that didst not travail with child. He says, for more are the children of the desolate than the children of the married wife, saith the Lord. Enlarge the place of thy tent, and let them that stretch forth the curtains of thine habitations spare not. Lengthen thy cords and strengthen thy stakes. For thou shalt break forth on the right hand and on the left, and thy seed shall inherit the Gentiles and make the desolate cities to be inhabited. Here we have a messianic promise, or promise of the Messiah to come, looking forward to him. 53, we talk about how he's going to come, what he's going to look like, what he's coming to do. 54 is steadily pointing to our Messiah. God gives us a promise in verse 3. He gives us a promise. He says that he will make the desolate cities to be inhabited. He said, we're going to break forth on the right hand and on the left. Thy seed shall inherit the Gentiles. We look here, and God is comparing Israel may not feel real good. But here God is talking to us about a time of desolation, time of emptiness, time of being barren. This is what God is comparing his children to. He's letting them know, hey, listen, you're in a bad way. You're in a bad place. You are like a desolate, barren woman. In the midst of them being desolate, in the midst of them being in a place where nothing's happening, where you're receiving bad news after bad news after bad news after bad news. He said something very strange. Did I say they was in a bad place, receiving bad news over and over and over again? They were barren. Did I say that? He doesn't come with a pity party. But he says to them, enlarge the place of your tent. God, why would I enlarge the place of thy tent? In case you haven't noticed, there's not much going on around here. Not much happening. Matter of fact, um, we are a lot low on a lot of stuff. When we look at that word enlarge, and you look at it in the Hebrew, you look at it in the Greek, and it actually has its root in the same word that we get Rehoboth. Y'all remember that? Rehoboth. Y'all can look at Genesis 26 and 22. And that word Rehoboth, Isaac begins to declare, because in that place, he says that God has made room for me. he says, God has made room for me. And I want you to see that. Because then he says something else right after that. Yes. He says, for now the Lord hath made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. This is the same word where he says enlarge in Isaiah is the same root word that they get Rehoboth in Genesis that Isaac begins to speak. He says, you gotta open up. You gotta make room for me. You gotta make sure that you understand that when you open up, that you are creating space. If you sit around and you're closed off and you're closed up, what can you receive? You can't receive anything. You have to make room. Don't restrict yourself. Don't restrict yourself. If you're living in a way in which you are restricted, what does that mean? That means that you cannot grow. If you live a restricted life, if you are restricted, cut off from even exploring the options of growing, when you live in a restricted mindset, you can't go nowhere. You can't go nowhere. He says, make room. Make room. Because if you don't make room, you cannot receive. Now, this is what I think is interesting. He says, enlarge the place of your tent. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Now, when you're talking about enlarging, you would think that you would enlarge your tent. But that would be easy if you're just to enlarge the tent. You take the stakes, you move them back 2 feet. Oh, wow, I enlarged my tent. No, he says enlarge the place of your tent. You understand that when you have the tent, that you have the land that go with it. So if you have the land, then the tent is going to fit in the land. Wait, so how do you enlarge the place of the tent? That means that you have to stretch your mind to where you go beyond the place where you dwell. Or I said that wrong. You have to go beyond the place where you live, and you have to move into the place that you dwell. My God. Because the only way that you can expand your tent is that you have to expand the land that it's on. Come on. So he doesn't want you to just expand the little place. Yeah. He says, but I want you to take your mind and I want you to expand where I'm going to put the smaller place. Expand the place of your tent. If you're not able to think that, hey, I can have 2 acres of land, expand your mind until you can believe it. Come on. Come on. I need y'all to come with me. I know you like, well, where is this going to happen? I don't even see. It's a time for increase. Yeah. I'm telling you now. Yes. It's a time for increase. Yes. And he says you need to stretch the place of your tent. If you can't believe past a certain level, this is your opportunity to get ahead of the curve. Because see, if you can't see past living in the hood, get mad at me all you want. If you can't see past living in the hood, then I need you to see living in a suburban area. Huh? If you can't see past a 2-3 bedroom apartment, can you begin to stretch the place of your tent and see yourself in a townhouse? Can you see yourself with neighbors and not the ones that bang on the roof if you're making too much noise? Or take the broom and hit the ceiling if you on the second, third floor and they mad because you up early in the morning? Huh? Can we allow our minds to be stretched? Yeah. We have to allow our minds to be stretched. We have to allow our minds to be widened. Yeah. If you don't, you have to be careful not to be narrow-minded. You have to avoid being small-minded, small thinking, because if you're small-minded, you can't see anything big. Come on. When you are small-minded, you are inward thinking. Yeah. Yeah. You can only perceive what you can believe you can do. You can only perceive that God is able to do as far as you can believe. He says expand, enlarge the place of your tent, enlarge your territory, enlarge what you're believing can be accomplished. What is it? What is it? You have to make room for the accommodations of God. You got to make room. Because if God begins to do things, are you going to be able to receive? When he begins to fill the house, what's going to happen? Are you going to have to move again? If your faith, if your mind will only allow you 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, but God says, I got furniture to fill up a 6-bedroom house, what's going to happen?
Come on.
Now you're wasting money because you have to get a storage to put in what God blessed your house with.
My God.
Why? Because you wouldn't believe the word and enlarge the place of your tent. Enlarge the place of your tent. Don't let nobody talk you out of what God is telling you to do. It's time to increase, y'all. It's time. It's time. It's time. It's time to increase. Let's get back to 54. He says, sing, O barren, that thou didst not bear. He says, break forth into singing and cry aloud, that thou didst not travail with child. He says, for more of the children of the desolate than the children of the married wife, saith the Lord. Enlarge the place of thy tent, and let them stretch forth the curtains. He says, although we are in a desolate place, he says, all of our experiences have been bad. He said, I just got one word for you. Y'all know what that word is? Say it louder.
Enlarge.
What's the word again?
Enlarge.
Enlarge. We must enlarge the place of the tent. Don't get caught up on the tent itself. Don't get caught up on the tent. Don't get caught up on the place where you will live. He says, don't worry about that. He says, enlarge the place of your tent. How do you begin to do that? How do you begin to do that? You have to go on the inside. You have to go on the inside and allow your mind to expand. Huh. The ground on which you build, you've got to enlarge it. You have to enlarge it. You have to enlarge it. You have to enlarge it. Let me ask you a question. If you build a 50,000 square foot house and the land is 50,000 square feet, what you got left? Huh? Can you imagine how that look? Your front yard on the road, your backyard on the people. I mean, think about that. Think about how crazy they look. God is trying to keep you from looking silly. Think about that. If he's saying enlarge the place of your tent, he says enough is enough. But God, do you see where we at? Do you see what's happening? We haven't had anything good happen in a while. I mean, you've been taking care of us where we at, but you talking about enlarge. You see what's around us? Enlarge. Enlarge. The place of the tent means the foundation you have laid for yourself, in which you have built your life. The place where you live is the foundation that you have laid for yourself, in which you have built your life upon. Where you are today, it comes because of the foundation that you have laid for yourself. What you believe, what you receive to be truth. He says you have to begin to tear up some stuff and enlarge it. How does this come? How do you lay a foundation in your life. Two things factor in. One is your philosophy of life. And say, well, what does that mean? The basis or assumptions upon which you have built your life, your mindset, your thoughts, your understanding. Everything is built upon a certain philosophy. If the mind is narrow, then your life also will be narrow. If your thinking or your mind is restricted, your life too will be restricted. What is your philosophy of life? what is your philosophy of life? I know we can't talk like the truth really is. But I believe that if we was somewhere in Africa, I believe that I believe that y'all could be honest and say, those who are without Christ, they believe that witches and warlocks directly impact things that happen in their lives. I know. We can't talk like that over here. But let's just close our eyes and go somewhere else. but 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 when you look at it, people truly believe. They don't call them witches. They don't call them warlocks. But they say, well, whatever God wants from me is what's going to happen. And then they live their life based on that. So if things don't happen, then they say God didn't want that for me. And if it does happen, then they'll say, well, I guess it was meant to be. But either way, what did you do about it to bring it to pass? What did you do about it? Huh? I asked you, what did you do about it? What part did you play? Haven't I been telling you this? Deuteronomy 8:18. He says, "Behold, I have given you the power to get wealth." So I'm asking you again, what did you do to bring to pass what he said was yours? Mm-hmm. 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 So again, if it don't happen, somebody didn't want me to have that. Huh? Yeah, yeah. So y'all don't hear people talk like that? Hmm? If somebody slide in there and get it before you, oh, see, somebody was scheming on me. See, they didn't want me to have it. They didn't want me to. Oh yeah, you really believe that? That can't be true. That can't be true because the life, the death, the burial, the resurrection, the ascension, and the seating tells me that he went down into the lower parts and that he spoiled principalities and powers. He made a show of them openly so that there is no witch, no warlock, no whatever it is that you want to call it. We just leave it to chance. See, none of that should really affect the life of a believer, not one that's born again, washed in the blood and spirit filled. None of those things should really have a part or even try to be blamed in the life of a believer. We have to understand that we stand on the right side of victory. So then what can stop you from enlarging the place of your tent? Nothing can stop you. Not, am I making sense? You sure? Okay. He says if we don't have a restricted mindset, we will not live a restricted life. If we do not live a restricted, if we don't have a restricted mindset, we will not live a restricted life. What are the restrictions? How many times do black folks blame the white man for what they can't have? That's a restricted mindset upon which many build their lives. And so when they don't get approved, or they don't have the money, or they don't have the job, they blame it on a white man they never met. And say that he's the reason that I couldn't get this or I couldn't get approved for that. Restricted mindset. When you have a restricted mindset, you can't go anywhere. You can't move from the hood. Why? Because you have a hood mentality. Where, if you don't change your mentality, if you don't change your mindset, you will never change your environment. Well, we got 4 years of the Republicans, so I guess I'll do better if we get a Democrat in there. What? If your mindset is narrow and you believe that the only way that you can do better depends on who's in the White House, then your life is meant to be a roller coaster. Your life is going to be narrow. You will never be able to expand the place of your tent if your mindset is stuck on stupid. Oh, did I say that? I'm stupid. Because somebody else is in charge of your well-being. Somebody else is in charge on what God can do for you. Oh God, somebody else and how they think and how they feel about you is dependent upon how far you can go. That's a narrow mindset. And if you don't learn how to push the borders and open up mindsets, your life will never open up. Your life will never open up if your mind never opens up. We've been talking about being strong in our minds through Christ. We have to learn to cast down every imagination that says you can't do it because of this. You can't go but so far because of that. You can't drive that because of this. You can't live over there because you don't A, B, C, and D. Who told you? When it comes to that, I go back to the garden. Who told you? Who told you that you couldn't? Do you understand that if any man be in Christ, that he is a new creation? That what am I saying? That means that your skin color has absolutely nothing to do with where you can go. Your gender, either male or female, because it's only two. That's a short list. That does not determine what you can and can't do, where you can and can't go. We're not bound by the stuff that this world talks about. Well, I didn't come from money. We grew up in the great. At least you had a place to grow up. So now what? So now what? Now what is your mind saying? Well, we're gonna stay right here and we're gonna repeat what mom and daddy did? No. Listen to mom and daddy. Any real mother and father gonna say, I want you to do better than me. I want you to have more than I had at this age. I want you to progress past where I was at this point in life. And I'm going to give you the tool that I didn't have then, but I have come across them. God made sure that I had what I need, that I can help the next generation. If you don't widen your thoughts, you cannot make a wide place for your life. There's no such thing as having a broad mind and your life live on a little piece of land like this. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. Broaden your mind. Broaden your life. We ain't talking about this new age crap out here. They're talking about, just expand your mind. No, you do it in the word of God. Yes. When God speaks to you and he says, enlarge the place of your tent. Begin tonight to tear down every stronghold that would try to keep you bound. You do understand that those things are real. You do understand that them strongholds in your mind will try its best to keep you limited, will try to keep you narrow, will try to keep you on a short leash. Because if you ever break loose, do you understand the possibilities are endless? Because there's nothing impossible to them who believe. Absolutely nothing is impossible. And y'all at the place where if y'all break off these limitations and you break off narrow mindedness and stop thinking that this is all that I can do. Well, I can sit and I can play and I can do this and I can do that. And that's it. Do you understand that your life and your potential is endless in God? Come on. Do you understand that the only time that you are boxed in is when you step into the natural and you leave who you are in the supernatural? And when you stay in God, there is nothing that you can't accomplish. When you stay in God, there's nothing that you can't do. When you stay in God, possibilities are endless. You say, I never heard nobody do that. Well, there's your starting point. No, you didn't hear me. You didn't hear me. You say, I never heard anybody doing that. I never heard of that being done before. That's your starting point. Where do you go from there? Only you can determine that. Yeah. How wide can you see? How broad can your vision be? Oh, God, I know I'm preaching better than y'all saying anything, but how wide can your vision become? Jesus. He took Abraham. He says, as far as you can see, took him upon the hill. As far as your eye can see, I've given it to you. My God. I'm asking you, if we stood on top of the Western, far back from the edge, but if we stood on top of the Western and we looked over Virginia Beach and God just said, as far as you can see, it's yours. Now, I know there's certain places that you can stand on the western and you can see Portsmouth. When you leave Portsmouth, you can see the western standing in the middle of Virginia Beach. Do you know how much land that is? Do you know how far that covers? Do you know? And he says, if you can see it, you can have it. My God. The prophet is saying, enlarge your tent. Enlarge your tent. Because as far as you can see, as far as you can stretch the boundaries and the foundation of your mind, that's as far as you can go. How far? How far? How far? How far are you willing to stretch? How much are you willing to break up and say, no, this ain't my boundary no more. I'm changing the foundation of I'm changing the foundation of my tent. Come on. I was good in a 10 by 20, but that 10 by 20 ain't good no more. I got to move out and see where the thousands are. What does it feel like to have 1,000 by 1,000? What does it feel like to have a 50,000 square foot? What does it feel like to live in a 70,000 square foot house? What does it feel like to drive a different car every day of the week? What does it feel like? What does it feel like your grandkids come over and don't know what a city park is because you got one in your backyard? Come on, y'all think I'm playing. What does it feel like? Come on. They don't have to ride the stuff that's open to the public because they got it all at Papa House. What does it feel like? Y'all catch it eventually, but I just want to know what does it feel like? Oh God. And oh God, take the limits off. Yes. Take the limits off. Yes. Take the limits off. I'm finished for the night. Take the limits off. Take the limits off. Y'all come on stage. Leave y'all sitting here. Take the limits off. Look at your neighbor and just say, take the limits off. Take the limits off. Take the limits off your mind. And you'll take the limits off of God. If you will take the limits off your mind, you release God to take the limits off what he wants to do for you. Do you realize that God is limited by your mind? God can't do for you more than you can believe him for. But if you take the limits off of your mind and enlarge the place of your tent, do you realize that you authorize God to go for it? You release God to go for it. And he's not hindered by you. You saying, God, do what you got to do. Yes. And you watch God go. And then you just stand in the place and say, God, how did I get here? How did I get here? You got a west wing where you go and you find the homeless and you say, come here. We got brunch prepared for you. And you can bring the homeless in to the west wing of your house where they can sit down at the table after they have gone and taken a shower and they have gone and put on new clothes and they have gotten all cleaned up. And then they can come and sit down at your table and be treated like royalty. Why? Because that's who they are in the sight of God. Yes. Why would we not treat them the way that God would treat them? You think he'd give you all that land so you could just say, look what I got. I'm going to show you what heaven feel like before you get there. Why? Because God let me experience a little bit. And I want you to know what you could potentially miss out on if you don't give your life to him. He did it for me. If you would just say yes to him, he has no reason not to do it for you. He has absolutely no reason because he is not a respecter of persons. He's not. He's not. He's not a respecter of persons. To those of you online, we thank you for taking this time to share with us. Know that we here at the, make sure that's not me, at the Power Center, we love you. Know that we are praying for you. Know that we want God's best for your life. We come to you every week and we give you what God is saying. We are giving you what God is saying because this is the desire that he has for you. Take the limits off. Take the limits off of your mind. Don't box God in to what you've experienced. But a desire in your mind that you're going to take the limits off of God and let God go for it in your life. Step out the way and let God stretch out in your life. I'm telling you, this is the time of increase. Well, you don't know what's going to happen. I do. I know that God is about to show off in the lives of his people. I don't care who's in the White House, the Black House, or the Crack House. I know who's in my house. Come on. And that is God Almighty. God Jehovah is my God. He's my king and he's my president. And in him I trust. Yes. Yes. Don't you get upset when you see me ride and living like he want me to. Don't get upset because I'm giving it to you now. You can have the same thing. You can God is not, he's not a respecter of persons. I need you to understand. But he wants the best for all of his children. He wants the best for all of you. How do you get it? He says, take the limits off of your mind. Take the limits off. Believe God to be who he says that he is. And you will see him do what he said he will do. I can't get it no more plainer than that. That's his word. That's his word. That's his promise. If you desire to partner with the ministry, there's some information on the bottom of the screen. Make sure that you get in on what God is doing. When God begins to bless in this house on another level, when you're a partner, that trickles to your house. I'm telling you, I've learned the not so secret of increase when God begins to speak. Then there's some things that you're going to have to let go of only because he's got better that he's going to replace it with. Again, the information's at the bottom of the screen. You can also check out our website, www.18power.org. Go there for all the latest news, latest information, the latest happenings for us here at the Power Center. We got some things coming up in the next few months. We want you to stay aware of all of our upcoming events. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time right here at the Power Center. Goodbye for now.
I have been redeemed from the curse of the law, according to Galatians 3:13. The curse has no place in or over my life. I have been given exceeding great and precious promises, according to 2 Peter 1:4. My time is redeemed, according to Joel 2. What takes the world years to complete, I will accomplish in weeks. Ebenezer, which means God is my helper, will bring to me what is necessary for my fulfillment of purpose. I am a cheerful giver. I honor and worship God with my tithe and offerings. God has opened windows in heaven for me that will pour out superabundance in all good things. Everyone connected to me is blessed. Every area of my life will testify of God's goodness. My life will glorify God and prove His faithfulness. For it is God giving me the power to get wealth, and that wealth is without regret or compromise. I am debt-free and owe no man nothing but love. I can be trusted with the wealth transfer, and I will finance the end-time move of the kingdom. I am entrusted with real estate, land, and livestock. I am responsible for cutting-edge business strategies, inventions, and ideas. I am entrusted with millions in U.S. and international currencies. I will never want for as long as I live. Amen. It is written, no evil shall befall us, nor shall any plague nor sickness come near our dwelling. You will completely cover and protect us with your feathers, and under your wings we trust and are perfectly safe from all hidden dangers and from all deadly diseases. Your faithfulness is a shield and a wall. Resurrection life dwells inside of us. We are strengthened with might by your Spirit. We take and use the sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God, to destroy every evil plan. And the shield of faith, we extinguish all the fiery darts of the evil one. As children of God, we exercise the authority we have in Him, and we forbid infirmity from touching us, our loved ones, and this assembly. We walk in divine health and make divinely healthy decisions. Our minds are healthy. Our bodies are healthy. Our spirits are healthy. We are carriers of divine health and the miracle-working power of God. We decree the power center in our homes, divine health zones, according to 1 Peter 2:24. We cancel the assignment of the spirit of fear against our minds in Jesus' name. We shall not be afraid of any dangers at night, nor sudden attacks during the day, nor the plagues that roam in darkness, nor the epidemics, sudden death that strikes at noon. None of these things will come near us. Lord, you are our refuge and dwelling place where no disaster will strike. We refuse to fear, be distracted, or deceived in any way. When we call on you, our God, we stand in confidence knowing you will answer because we acknowledge you as Lord. With a long, healthy, strong, satisfying, spirit-filled, miracle-producing life, you will satisfy us. And it is so.